Good morning, and yes, welcome back. Find me on the Trent for the first time in my life today, on the Fiskerton stretch. It's a day ticket water. You go online, Nottingham Pastoral Society. I can't say that word, but whatever the word is, go online, pay for your ticket online, which I did yesterday, £8 for the day. And you can be here an hour before sunrise and fish until an hour after sunset. That said, it's a 130-mile trip for me, so I think I got here about 7 o'clock. Yeah, I did. I left home about 10 to 5, got here 7 o'clock. Obviously not knowing where I'm going, not seen the river before. So you get a what 3 words location for the car park, which does bring you exactly here. And then you walk up and you see the river, and the river was lovely. You walked up this morning and thought, wow, look at this. This is some of me. And you've got to then decide a peg. I don't know how long this goes. It goes a long way down. And so I started walking along, looking at different pegs, looking at how the water's flowing. And came up to peg 10. And I'd brought half my gear with me. I thought, if I'm going up to have a look, let's bring me ground bait buckets and my rucksack, so at least I can make a light trip, 2 light trips rather than 1 heavy one. So I like the look of peg 10. Look there, the river was slow in there, looked really calm and nice. I thought, this will do. Took my rucksack off, put my buckets down. Thought, let's just walk along. You don't want to settle on your first choice. And yeah, a little bit further along, I come to a sign that tells me day tickets don't start until peg 21. I looked down, I'm at peg 12. So I'm like, oh, that could be a bit of a walk. So went back, got my gear, stuck it on, got down to peg 21. Had a look there, that looks okay. And I just thought, yeah, human nature, we're quite lazy. How many people drop in this peg? It's the first one you come to, this will do. So I walked past that, looked at some other pegs on my way down. Some of them I like the look at, but didn't look safe. I mean, that's always a priority for me. I'm 99 times out of 100, I'm fishing on my own. I need to be relatively safe, or as safe as I can be fishing on my own. So whilst I like the look of a couple of pegs, they just look too steep and a bit underwater as well. The river's up about 18 inches, maybe 2 foot even. So carried on walking along, and I finally settled on a peg 36. By the time I got there and I took my gear out, I've been walking for 35 minutes. And I'm thinking, yeah, all right, I've had a few stops and all that, but you know, average person walks 3 miles an hour, so 20 minutes is a mile. I thought I've probably walked a mile, and I've still got to go back to the car and get my gear and that. So, and all the time you're walking down the road, there's a track. I'm walking along and there's a track as if you can drive along. I'm thinking, have I missed something here? But no, I'm definitely, and there's one other car parked where I'm parked. That must be it. So I left my gear in peg 36. I thought I'll time it back to the car. So get back to the car, and it's taken me 17 minutes to walk there. So probably about 3/4 of a mile. So now I've walked 3/4 of a mile down to 36, 3/4 of a mile back to the car, and I've got to walk 3/4 of a mile again. Plus there's this skinny little gate. You know, there's not a lot of me, really. I'm quite a small person, but I can't get through the gap in this gate with my rucksack on. So you've got to take all your gear off, put it through the gate, get through, and I'm thinking I must have found the wrong way. But nonetheless, I'll plod on down. So as I'm walking down my rods, I have another look in 21 and think, do you know what, this does look like a good peg. And yeah, as I've said, probably most people do just stop here, but at the same time, how much bait goes into this peg? So the fish may be used to feeding there, so maybe that's the peg I should look at. So now I drop my rods and my water, and I think it's my food I'd left in the car, so I'll drop them up. I've got my wellies whilst I went back to the car as well, because a lot of the swims are down in water. So anyway, I dropped my gear in 21, start walking off to head towards 36 to pick up my rucksack and ground bait buckets, etc. But then, as human nature is, or fisherman's human nature, you have to stop and look in other pegs. I'm like, oh, this one looks good, or this one looks good. And then I just thought, do you know what? 21 looked good. Let's go back to where I was. So picked up all my gear, hiked back to 21, which is probably another quarter of a mile back again. But then 21's just there, and I thought, let's have a look in 23. I went down to 21, put a pole in the water to a bit where I could walk out to land fish, and it was just to the top of my wellies. I thought, it is safe, but it's not ideal. Come along to this next peg, 22. It's a bit safer. There's a little bit more rocks in here that I can stand on. I don't need to wade out up to my knees to land fish, assuming I get fish. So I settled on here, put all my gear out here, and had a few casts around with the lead just to see what I could buy, because you look on the internet, there's not much, or YouTube, there's not much information about fishing these rivers. It's one of the reasons I do these vlogs, to help people like myself with a bit of information, instead of you coming blind and trying to do everything on the day you're fishing. But nonetheless, you know, there's not much here. What I have found here is people fish in the middle, and I've seen an old boy, and he was fishing peg 75 and peg 35, which also made me think there's got to be an easier route. You know, I'm old, he's a lot older than me, or he looked it on the vlog. If you're watching this and you're not, I apologise. So I'm thinking there's definitely another way here. But anyway, settle in here, have a few casts out with just a bare lead. It's not as deep as I thought it would be in the middle, and then you go along and you get some rocks and things, and then you come clear. And on the inside here, there's a nice little crease just off a bush. You've probably got 4 or 5 foot water, and it's smooth bottom, so I will feed that inside line as well. But as I'm doing that, this white Reliant Robin is coming down the side. Look, I'll run up the bank, stop the bloke. This bloke's, I'm like, mate, how'd you get your car up here? He goes, oh, you need to be a member. We've got a key for the gate. So yeah, if you're buying a day ticket, be prepared for a long walk. But nonetheless, we're here. I've done my usual thing. I've started putting some bait out into the middle on the upstream rod. And I'm also putting some mushed pellets, which I'm going to also mould around the lead when I cast out. So I'm going to plan to have an hour here baiting up. I've been baiting up for about half an hour now. An hour baiting up and everything before I cast out. I'm putting some 10mm krill boilers out there. Obviously the pellet mix. There's hemp in my ground baiters. It's my usual ground bait mix. Pellets, blitz mix, spicy sausage mix, all mixed together. Bit of krill juice in there, bit of krill powder in there, just things that fish love. So yeah, that's the plan, to give it an hour, finish my coffee off, put a bit more bait in, perhaps a couple more lots before casting out, and hopefully I'm seeing you on the bank with a fish. If I do get a barbel, good chance of a PB. Now my PB is up on the 7, £10 4. Down on the Trent here, 10-pounders are regular fish, or double figure fish are regular catches. So we'll see what happens. If we can catch a barbel, fingers crossed, it'll be a double. But a bit like my video the other day at Castor, I'll be happy with a chub. I'm going to have my coffee, and yeah, see you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. I'm not sure what the sound would be like on this. My microphone, well, the receiver battery's gone flat. I must have left it turned on. That said, it's meant to run for 6 hours, so it hadn't been on for 6 hours, but just thought I got a bite there. Oh, I thought I had a little first knock of the day, which sort of spoils this intro. Yeah, not a lot's happened, to be honest. Quite a lot of boat traffic earlier in the day, and yeah, I think there must be some sort of lock or something up that end, because big boats come through, and the pace of the river is sometimes you're holding bottom all right out in the middle, and then other times you're just not holding bottom anymore, and the river has speeded up. So I'm guessing there's a lock of some sort up there, and it's why the boats come down 2 or 3 at a time, and then nothing for 20 minutes, half an hour. So yeah, as I say, nothing's happened. I've spoken to a couple of people now as they've gone past in their cars, and now I run up and have a little chat, and everyone says, oh yeah, just stay out in the middle, keep putting your bait out in the middle, and the fish will come. It just goes against the grain to sit on the rods just doing nothing when I'm river fishing, to be honest. I'm feeding this inside line. I don't know if I spin this round, maybe we can see. Let's see. I'm feeding an inside line just down sort of there, and yeah, as I said earlier, that's 4.5, 5 foot deep there, so I'm going to keep feeding that up. And then there's you can't really see it now, but at some time there's a slack around there, so again I'm feeding that point as well, and we just see what happens. Like I say, I mean, I don't want to be going on the motorway in rush hour, even though it is school holidays, so yeah, I will stay here at least until 6:30ish. Let's come back now. Yeah, I'll probably at least 6:30 I'll leave the rods out too. I've got well, I said earlier about all the walking I've done. I looked on my phone app. If you've got an iPhone, you've got a phone app, and I've done can't remember what I've done now. It's about just under 3 miles, 7 point something kilometres I've done. So yeah, a lot of walking I've done already today, and I've got a good at least half a mile walk back to the car with all my gear this evening. So we'll just play it by ear. You know, if I can get some fish going, I'll be encouraged to stay longer. If I can't get the fish going, then well, no, I won't be encouraged to stay longer, but I will still sit it out. Yeah, there's not a lot else I can say. I've tried every different bait. The last bait I've got to try now is luncheon meats. I'm still hopeful of a fish. I'm also hopeful that it doesn't rain, because the umbrella's back in the car. I mean, it's not meant to rain, it's not meant to get above 17 degrees today, but the sun was out for the first few hours this morning, which yeah, it felt a lot warmer than 17 degrees. Now it feels cooler than 17 degrees, and I may well have the coat on shortly. What else was I going to talk about? I've not talked about the kit I'm using today, so I've got basically my River 7 stuff back out. I've got the Cadence rods, the Cadence 5000 reels. I've got the sports with the 13-pound line on them to cope with the rocks and things. It is a bit like the 7 underneath, you know. I'll show you where I'm sat now, and I'm sat amongst big boulders and things, and I'm thinking that's what you're feeling. If you hold on to feel the lead along, you get clonk, 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 and I think you're hitting these boulders. Yeah, so that's why I've stepped up to all the stronger gear again, in the hope that if I do get a fish, I'll get it in. So yeah, I'm gonna stop and have some lunch now. It's 12:30, and I'm not gonna stop fishing. I'm gonna stop recording now, have some lunch, and yeah, hopefully I'll come back with a fish on the bank later on. So speak to you then. It's 3:15 now. As you would have seen Friday the video came out, I've just had a chub, a little one, a couple of pound, and I've lost 2 as well, fishing into this overhanging willow tree. There's I've been feeding that up all day long, that spot. Put a bit of luncheon meat under there and I can get bites. Put anything else under there, I can't get bites. Go too far beyond it, you'll be in a big boulder and you'll get cut off. So at least that's promising. At least I've not blanked, which is always good. What else can I say? The guys in the Reliant Robin, they've gone home now. They stopped up the peg, see how I was doing. I hadn't had anything when they were going. I'd lost a chub and that was it. So they were saying one of them hadn't had anything and one of them had had 2 small barbel. So you know, they're locals and they know the river. They're struggling. So yeah, in the scheme of things, I guess I'm doing all right. Had I landed all 3 chub, I would have been doing all right. So we'll carry on. Like I say, it's 3:15. I've got, well, probably another 3.5 hours. Problem is, the only thing I can get bites on at the moment is the luncheon meat, and I've probably got enough for 5 more casts on the luncheon meat. So and I've got a tin in the car. It's hard, and as I said, it's a half-mile walk back to the car, and it means leaving all my gear here while I'm gone. So that's 20 minutes, half a mile there, half a mile back. 20 minutes when my gear's all on its own here. So I'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens if I have a couple of fish whilst, you know, in the next hour or so. Then yeah, I'll have to go back to the car and get that spam luncheon meat. But yeah, if I don't, then we'll do all right. So what I'll do, I'll update the blog. Yeah, before I go. Hopefully, you know, I'm still hopeful of a barbel, although it's fishing hard. At least I've had a chub, and who's to say the barbel won't follow in if I keep feeding that spot up. So that's the plan, and yeah, see you in a bit. Okay, let's just wrap this vlog up then. So yeah, nothing else has happened, disappointingly. It's weird, the bites on the luncheon meat just dried up. So I went to wind it in and somehow it was all snagged up in a boulder that's down there, which I don't get because I'd been casting there and getting those runs. Anyway, that was, so I had to snap up to get that. Then as I turned around, a bloody dog had come down, and that was 4:30. He ate the last of me spam. So yeah, I just didn't go back to the car. I thought, Tom, I've gone there, got back, it's 5 o'clock, then I've got to set the rod up. I'm only fishing till 6:30, so I didn't reset the rod up. But yeah, what can I say, I will be back. I mean, what have we learned today? Or things that may be useful for people who haven't fished here before. For a start, you now know to come as light as possible, because you've got minimum half a mile walk to the first peg. If you want to go further down, obviously I walked down to, as I said, 36 originally, and that was 3/4 of a mile to there. Don't load yourself up at your car, because you've got to get through that ridiculously small gate. Basically you've got to pass your stuff either one item at a time through it or over the top of it and load up once you're round. Yeah, everybody does seem to fish the middle. As I say, I've spoken to people who have packed up and gone, but they've not had fish, but they've been fishing the middle. Somebody has set up in the peg just along from me. There, both rods are out in the middle. That said, my 3 chub bites have been in the margins, and so yeah, don't neglect the margins. I always say, don't neglect the margins. Had I neglected them, I may not have caught at all. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. It is what it is, you know. It's £8 for a day. You can't really complain, and the potential of a double figure barbel. So definitely worth another trip back later in the year. Yeah, don't forget your wellies, because if the water's up as it is today, I mean, again, the guys in the old boy in the Reliant, he said it's 18 inches up. So yeah, you need your willies in a lot of the pegs. And I don't know if the right thing is to stay in one peg. I know it's not what I normally do. I've done it today because that's what everybody says to do here. But it hasn't produced today by staying here. Who's to say it wouldn't another day? So yeah, I think that's about it for here really. I think it's worth a visit if you don't mind a drive up here. Don't mind the £8. You can't mind £8. But yeah, and I'll do another vlog when I come up next time, and hopefully we're over Barbel this time. Shame I didn't get the third chub bite. The chub was actually taking line off the clutch. You knew that was a good fish, but once I get in this side and under this willow, it's very hard to get them out. Managed to get the one I did get out, but probably because it was a small one. So yeah, that's it for me for now, and see you on the bank somewhere soon.